The night Eli Carter found the young Apache man collapsed by his fence line. The desert wind carried a sound he'd never heard before, half cry, half prayer, and full of fear. One look at the stranger's wounds, and Eli knew this wasn't the kind of trouble a man walked away from. And yet, the boy had dragged himself miles through the dust, straight toward Eli's ranch, as if his last hope lived there. That was the moment Eli realized sometimes kindness chooses you before you choose it. Before we continue this powerful story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to channel name Like, where every story reminds us that kindness still matters. Eli carried the young man inside like he weighed nothing. The boy whispered only one word before passing out completely. Please. For 2 days, Eli tended to him, cleaning wounds, cooling fever, praying the boy's spirit wouldn't slip away. When he finally woke, the stranger introduced himself as Tahoma, a hunter separated from his people during a raid. He expected anger or judgment, but Eli just handed him water and said, "You're safe here." Tahoma stared at the rancher as if no one had ever spoken to him that gently. As strength returned to him, so did caution. He stayed quiet, watchful, grateful but guarded. Eli didn't push. He simply made room at the table, at the fire, in the silence. Someone had once shown him kindness when he was young and lost. This was his way of paying it forward. One evening, as the sun melted into the horizon, Tahoma finally spoke the truth. "You risked yourself helping me, but you do not know who I am." Eli shrugged. "Doesn't matter who you are. Just matters that you needed help." Tahoma lowered his gaze, touched by a kind of humanity he wasn't used to from settlers. Yet even then, he warned Eli, "My people, especially our chief, they do not forget debts or threats." Eli smiled. "Then I hope they only see the first one." But Eli had no idea how soon he'd learn what that meant. 3 mornings later, before dawn fully woke the land, horses thundered across the ranch. Eli stepped outside to find a circle of Apache warriors surrounding his home. Silent, stern, unblinking. At the front sat a tall, commanding figure with braids streaked in gray and eyes sharp enough to cut stone. The great chief. Eli's breath caught. This was the kind of moment ranchers whispered about but never expected to survive. The chief dismounted without a word, walking straight toward Eli. Tahoma rushed out, standing between them. "Father," he said quietly. Eli froze. "Father?" The wounded young hunter he saved was the son of the great Apache chief. He suddenly understood the gravity of everything. The chief looked from Tahoma to the rancher who had sheltered him. "You took my son into your home," he said, voice deep but steady. "You cared for him as if he were your own." Eli nodded, heart pounding. "Any man would have done the same." The chief stepped closer. "No, many would have left him to die." For a tense moment, the desert held its breath. Then something unexpected happened. The chief placed a hand on Eli's shoulder. Firm, respectful, grateful. "My heart honors yours," he said. "You saved not only a warrior, but the future of our people." The warriors behind him lowered their weapons. Tahoma bowed his head. In that instant, all the invisible lines drawn between their world unblurred. For weeks after they rode away, Eli found small gifts left at the edge of his property. Fresh meat, woven blankets, carved symbols of protection, quiet reminders that kindness once given travels farther than any man can see. And though he rarely spoke of that day, Eli carried one powerful truth with him. Sometimes compassion crosses borders we didn't even know existed. And when it does, it doesn't just save a life, it builds a bridge. So whenever life feels divided, or people seem too different to understand each other, remember this. A single act of kindness can change more than a moment. It can change a world.